Welcome everyone. It's my great pleasure having here Merlin Rietschel, Senior Manager Medical Devices of MedTech Europe. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, and I'm really sorry that I cannot be there in Italy with you, but I'm happy to be here online, and I'm ready to answer all the questions you have on MDR implementation. Thank you very much on behalf of MedTech Europe and myself.
So together we will try to have a deep focus on medical devices market scenario in Europe. What is the state of play regarding MDR implementation?
Yes, so let me start off by saying that MDR is a top priority for us as a trade associations and for our members, obviously. And industry has always supported the goals of the MDR, of a strengthened patient safety, to build trust in our CE marking regulatory system, and the fact that we wanted a modernized system. So industry has, ever since the beginning, invested heavily in compliance with MDR and has been relentlessly working towards a successful transition from the directives to the MDR. Unfortunately, what we see today in our members report from the ground that despite those intense efforts to comply with the regulatory requirements of the MDR, we see that the system is still not entirely ready. And we see, for example, lengthy and unpredictable conformity assessment timelines. And our members have identified 4 key areas of concerns, if I may say, that are still persisting 5 years after the entry into force of the MDR. The first one is the capacity of notified bodies, which is lacking. There's not enough capacity to transition from MDD to MDR. The regulation, the MDR, is not implemented in a harmonized way throughout Europe. In other words, it's a fragmented implementation. And as I was saying before, the transition from directive certificates from existing devices to the new MDR rules is very challenging. For example, with clinical investigation requirements. And the fourth one is more a consequence, is that our companies, our members are turning their back from Europe towards other jurisdictions around the world because the system is unpredictable. So innovation is leaving Europe, if I may say. And we do have data to show it, to prove it. We have conducted a survey at industry level very recently, and I just want to say a few words about that, the key outcome of that survey. But the European Commission and notified bodies have also conducted a survey very recently, and we have the results. I also want to say a few words just to illustrate that the claims we're making are actually really true. For example, in our survey, we found that the certification time for MDR has doubled if you compare it to the certification time under the directives. So it's now 13 to 18 months across all classes of devices. We have also seen that still many small and medium enterprises, which are composing the majority of our industry, it's 95% of the industry, the medtech industry, is composed of SMEs. So only one-third of the SMEs do not still have access to notified bodies, which is very, very worrying. And again, 50% of the companies that were surveyed said, we're not launching our innovation in Europe. We're looking towards the FDA, we're looking in the US, we're looking towards Japan, et cetera, et cetera. And the last figure I want to mention is that only 15% of the certificates under the MDD have been transitioned to MDR. And this is confirmed by the survey I was just mentioning from the European Commission and notified bodies, where we see that in April, we had 1,000 certificates under MDR. Now in October, we have fresh figures, it's 2,000. And by May 2024, we need 23,000. So if you do the math, it's quite worrying. So the system is not working properly at the present time. We want it to work. Add a little bit of COVID here, the war in Ukraine and supply chain disruption, and you sort of create the perfect storm. So the situation really is becoming increasingly critical with directive certificates expiring today, not only in 23-24, but today we already see some medical devices disappearing. We need bold, urgent solutions at European level and that help all categories of devices. So that in a nutshell is the situation. So it's critical. And I just wanted to end the reply to your question by saying that it's not only industry that is flagging those problems, it's also notified bodies, patients, hospitals, doctors who are speaking up and are also asking and calling on the legislators, calling for urgent solutions.
Very interesting data. So which solutions does MedTech Europe expect?
Okay, so here what we see, the solutions are twofold. We have solutions within the legislation, within the MDR, and we are calling for more solutions, bolder solutions outside, which needs to a targeted amendment of the MDR. We call them legislative solutions. So you may remember, and the audience in the room may remember, that the regulators have published over the summer 19 solutions within the MDR text. These are all very, very good ideas, and we support and welcome them. But reports from the ground, from our members, show that those solutions are not being implemented in an optimal way. Here again, we see fragmentation. We see that the stakeholders, like notified bodies, are not properly empowered to implement these solutions. So these are very nice solutions. These are good solutions. Again, we welcome them, but they're not enough. They're insufficient to tackle the problems that we're facing now. And that's why MedTech Europe has been calling repeatedly over the past month for other solutions that go beyond the solutions we have now on the table. And we have three main angles. We want an extension of the validity of the certificate, of the existing certificates under the directive, so that products can continue to be placed on the market until they get the MDR certification. So that's the first one. And we suggest that this is being done in a risk-based rollout per class. The second one is that we suggest to have a temporary MDR certification. And the third one is the abolishment of the warehousing clause to avoid unnecessarily discarding of devices that are on the market. So these are the three legal solutions we're asking for: targeted amendment of the MDR. Yeah.
According to these, what are the foreseen next steps?
Okay, so the foreseen next steps, you know, in June of this year, there's the so-called EBSCO meeting where all health ministers gather, and MDR gained highest political attention again since June. And that's how we got to these 19 solutions, because the EBSCO gave the mandate to the European Commission and the MDCG to work on solutions. But as I was saying before, these solutions are welcome, but not enough. So there's another EBSCO meeting coming up in December, on the 9th of December. And we really hope that at this occasion, member states across Europe, a critical amount of member states, will give the mandate to the European Commission to work on legal changes. So targeted amendment of the MDR to implement the three solutions I was just talking about. And we saw today the agenda of the EBSCO meeting, and it's promising because MDR is on the agenda under any other business. So we're very eager to see the outcome of that meeting. And at the same time, it's also important to mention that MDR is gaining also attention at European Parliament level, which is also extremely important in the co-decision procedure. We have a meeting today at the Parliament. It's the 24th of November today. And we are looking forward to seeing the outcome of that discussion. So member states, European Commission, and Parliament.
Thank you so much, Merlin Rietschel, for meeting with us today and for your contribution to our discussion.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you all for your attention.